What's up guys, Chase on Two Wheels here with another Chase on Two Wheels first ride, and today 2016 FZ-07 in this pretty blue and silver. So regardless that it's blue, I'm pretty excited to ride this thing. Let us begin. FZ-07, funny story, the FZ-07 was actually the first ever bike that I did a first ride on here at Mountain Motorsports. I came in one day and I was like, guys, I want to do first rides. I want you guys to let me borrow a bike out for an hour, do some filming of it, and put a video on YouTube. So that day they actually let me ride a bike. I didn't do the filming for it or anything. You can see the video here. This is the video. This is the first ride that the FZ-07 should have gotten. We've got a 2016 FZ-07. God, this bike is just as comfortable as I remember it being. Holy crap. Still quiet. Still can't hear it. I've ridden the FZ-09. I've told you guys the FZ-09 is kind of like my number one bike right now that I want to buy, that I first rode on. But the seat's not comfortable. The seat on this bike is very comfortable. Like, it's a total opposite. The engine of the FZ-09 is what I like about it the most. If I could get the engine of the FZ-09 in this body, God, that would be money. We're looking at the competition for something like Suzuki's GSX-750. I would say that was that'd be a closer comparison to this bike. It's going to be your mid-range naked bike. I think what I like most about these naked bikes is you get that mix of it being like supermoto-y fun, don't have to really care, and the power of like a sport bike or something. Wow, the engine braking is a little more serious than I expected. I gotta sit up in this seat. You do not expect to get this much engine out of this bike, and then it just comes out of nowhere. I love it. Oh my gosh. It's actually more powerful than I remember it being. Oh my God, the engine braking, holy Jiminy. Whoa, shit. Okay. Oh my God. Shoo! Maybe you don't need an FZ-09, man. Maybe you just need the FZ-07. The power of this bike is definitely not up top. You're definitely going to get that mid-range power. Wow, don't fall down that. I think where I'm really interested to take this bike is on the highway, because this bike is proven awesome around town. You've got that torque that pops in really good. But on the highway, when you're higher up in the revs and you want to have passing power, I'm interested to see how it does then. The FZ-07 is one of my favorite bikes for learners, for beginner bikes. I really think you could start on this bike and have a great time. Ooh, the area right here feels real good against my leg when I'm leaning off the bike. I don't know, my leg just cupped in really well. You get that supermoto flick it back and forth feel. Mirrors need to be adjusted a little bit. We'll do that after this turn. Yeah, you get this planted feel when you go through a turn. It's something, I guess it has to do with like the seat kind of swoops down and you sit into the bike. I really like the way that makes you feel mid-turn, because you feel like you're not going anywhere. I like seats like that. The Kawasaki ZX-636 has a very low seating position, like you're sitting low into the bike. Instead of being those hard seats that sit on top, this is really good with sitting into the bike. As far as body position goes, I'm pretty upright. I'm not leaning, I mean, I can lean forward and I'm fine. I can bend my arms in, but for the most part, I'm just chilling up top. Ooh. Be careful of that engine braking, ladies and gentlemen. If you throttle up in the rev range, man, the bike is going to come off the ground, the front wheel at least. I don't think the bike can fly, but I'm not sure about that. There's something to be said about that fun factor that a Supermoto has. This bike definitely has whatever the science behind it is. Probably has to do with the handlebars. One thing to also consider with this bike is you're not going to have a really big dash, so you're going to have that feeling of like nothing in front of you. It's got a stock exhaust on it, so it's going to sound like this from the factory. Slip-ons are pretty easy to get, and if the FZ-07 is anything like the FZ-09, which I imagine it is, a slip-on exhaust will make this thing sound like a beast. So don't get too caught up with the way it sounds right now. Yeah, I might be just the perfect sized rider, but my legs fit in perfect on this bike. I lean off and my leg literally fits into a glove. Like a glove. Yeah, when I lean off, my leg it doesn't fit in quite as well, but when I do like a semi-lean, it fits in a lot better. You're turning, yes. The turn signal kind of feels meh. That sucks. Didn't even notice it till just now. I remember the first time I rode this bike, I didn't feel like it had as much power as I feel like it has right now. Alright, First Ride fans, you guys know we got the small road turnaround test right here. Ooh, there's a little bit of wiggle in that back wheel. Be careful under hard engine braking, guys. That back wheel got a little funky on me. Alrighty, this is the road that I like to test if I can do a U-turn in this road without touching the sides. I have a good feeling about this one. No cars, no cars. Okay, cool. Oh, dude. Oh, easy. Oh, not even a little problem. I think I made a comment the first time I rode this bike, and I said this would be a fantastic bike to ride in the MSF course. The MSF course is basically a class you can take to get your motorcycle endorsement. Can we go? We can. Sweet, and thank you. I think this would be a great bike for that course. Oh my gosh, see? Second gear, a little bit of throttle on, throttle off, throttle on. Your tire's up, your tire's in the air. You gotta be ready for that front wheel. The handlebars get a little loose on you. And that's not clutching the bike up. That's not using the clutch to bring the front wheel up. So if I clutched it up, the bike would just flip backwards and then laugh at me as it goes down the road where I'm sitting on my butt. Look at that, just a little bit. I'm not gonna do that a lot because, you know, not my bike and all. Oh my god, it so easily just pops up. It just adds to the fun factor of this bike though. Because like, we're just going 36, we just a little bit of clutch and that bike will just whoop whoop. Oh man, this bike is fun. This bike is super light too. So we were talking about this bike feels like a Supermoto and a sport bike, right? You get the flickability and the fun factor of a Supermoto, but you get that big engine of a Super Sport where you can like get up and go. I like how the clutch, this is a stock clutch and it's really smooth off the bat. Yeah, throttling up in second, unless you just really yank on the throttle, if you just throttle up, it's gonna get the front wheel a little light, but I don't think it'll really come off the ground too much. You gotta really yank it to get something going. You don't have to have the beast big old FZ-09 to have a really good time. And the price point for this is going to be a lot lower than, not a lot lower, but the price point for this bike is going to be lower than the FZ-09 too. And it's not going to hold you back from any of the fun that you can have. Pond! What are you doing, bro? You suck. Typically I park the bikes there for the first rides. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, 2016 Yamaha FZ-07. They've got it in plenty of color styles. This one's going to be like the light silver with the blue accent. I'm a fan of the darker engine, but I think there's too many tones right here. You got the blue, you got the dark, you got the bronze, you got the silver, you got the black. A little too many colors going on, but you know, that's just my personal taste. Got a little baby stock exhaust over here. One thing I do like about this though is the exhaust is down here on the bottom. It's small and it gives the rear this really clean look. I love that. Obviously I'm seeing it without this thing. But the exhaust, obviously, you get taken off, add something new, sound 1,000 times different. This is what I was talking about. This is Mountain Motorsports is smart because they're like, I know Chase likes the tail. We're going to put the dot on the back. Good job, guys. So you see how it comes into an angle? The FZ-09 comes out and then goes flat. I'm not a big fan of that. I like this a lot more. So a thing that Kawasaki typically does, but Yamaha did here, so we got these blue accents and we have a blue shock. So awesome when they match stuff. It's so much better that way. It just makes sense. Obviously on the front we've got these big guys. They can be taken off. I've seen additions that can, like, you basically take this whole piece off right here. It just puts a light right there. It looks so much cleaner. You don't have more things poking out. I'd remove the mirrors if it were my bike. I think this area is a hit or miss for some people. Some people like that whole like industrial kind of like putting stuff together look. Some people don't. You know, it's a preference thing. All right, let's crank it up, rev it up a little bit for you guys. If you guys don't know, I do first ride reviews on my website, chaseontwowheels.com. There will be a link on screen and in the description for you guys to check out. Over on the website, I do some really nice pictures that I'm going to be taking later on of the bike. And I'll actually get my audio recorder out of my book bag, and I'll record a very nice sound clip. So if you guys want to actually hear what this bike sounds like, again, totally stock, I definitely recommend you clicking over there and checking it out. I do a little write-up as well, so if you want to find out a little more about the bike, go to chaseontwowheels.com, check it out. Like I said, link in the description. Let's get this thing revved up. It's got some grunt, even stock. For some reason, that doesn't really translate to the rider up here, but I know that when you get an exhaust on this thing, it can sound fantastic. I highly recommend an exhaust if you're grabbing an FZ-07. One thing that I really think adds to the maneuverability of this bike is having that feel of handlebars. It's back to that supermoto-y conversation where you feel like nothing's impeding your movement. We're in a, you know, a super sport, you're gonna have all that cluster and everything. This is just handlebars, man. I typically talk about the mirrors in the videos. These mirrors aren't horrible. They're nothing I would keep if I owned the bike. My arm is getting all in the way. I gotta do this little arm movement crap to actually see it. As far as the seating position, I don't feel crunched up at all. I think this would be a good option for maybe a taller rider, because you're gonna have a lot more leg space to work with and you're not gonna be all crunched up like on a lot of bikes. If you're a taller rider and you're just now starting, this might be a great bike. It's got plenty of engine to get you somewhere and you're not gonna feel crunched up. I hear a lot of taller riders tell me like, I need a bike that can like carry me and like and not slow down. I don't think you're gonna have this problem with this bike. This bike is fantastic because low down when you're starting out from a stop, it's really a smooth bike. You're not going to get a lot of that jerkiness you're going to get in the mid-range like that. You're going to get the smooth transition to get you to that mid-range. It's going to have all that power just waiting on you, which makes it really comfortable and nice to go from a stopped position to moving. All right, guys, so we are here at the highway. We're going to let the cars go a little ahead of us because I have a feeling we're going to accelerate a little harder than they were. 2016 FZ-07 highway entrance. That's what we're about to knock out with our crappy blinker. We're in first gear, you know, 20 miles an hour, whatevsies, kind of chilling. We get on the highway and we just lose our absolute mind. So I've got a decent amount of wind. I'm not trying to lie. I feel a decent amount pushing me back a little bit. It's not horrible. The wind is definitely to a point where if I was going to do some sort of touring or something like that, I would definitely want to get some type of windscreen for the front just to kind of come up. What I'm happy to say and what I was worried about was the power. And I'm going 75 right now, indicated. And I've still got a good bit of get up and go. Well, what are we racing this week? You guys know I like racing random cars. Whatever the first car is, that's what I like racing. I'm going to be careful though, because in this bike I've witnessed how wheelie it likes to I've witnessed how much it likes to wheelie. Are we gonna race? We're not gonna race? You don't want to race? Alright, whatever. I'm sure you guys can probably hear the wind that's coming on the helmet right now. It's a good amount. We're going 80 now and it's getting significantly worse. So, but look at that. We've got the power to like whip around traffic and that's at 90, so this bike can conquer the highway with no problem. Alright, let's get off on the highway here and let's go ride it just a little longer. I didn't expect this bike to have that much engine, honestly. I expected it to be, oh Lord God, that is not the turn. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Luckily this bike is maneuverable, because God almighty, that road totally looked like it was, oh wait, I've got road here. We've got road we can work with. Here's the cool thing about this bike, right? I've ridden the FZ-09, I love that bike. But that bike has so much power that you're a little scared to use it sometimes because it'll throw you back. This bike, I feel like, has a better mix of power because it's a very good balance of the bike is really light and maneuverable and has the power to do stupid stuff, but it's not too much power to scare you, so you end up actually using more of the power. So you're basically using more of a smaller engine instead of using way less of a bigger engine. Yeah, that rear wheel is not a fan of downshifting and rev matching, I will say that. I'm sure we can take photos somewhere here, right? Oh, that's a perfect place to take photos, so we're totally going there. Alright guys, so I'm going to whip into this little area right here and take some photos of the bike, put them up on chaseontwowheels.com. You can follow the link in the description to see those photos if you'd like. The photos I just got of this bike with this overcast, this giant parking lot, oh my God, dude, they look so good. I'm excited to go check them out when I get home. Let us take this maneuverable little bike back to Mountain Motorsports, I guess. Alright, so final thoughts on the FZ-07. If I had to think of one word to like encapsulate this entire bike, that word would have to be fun. This bike is just really enjoyable to ride. It's got the right sized engine for how big the bike is, plenty of power to have all types of fun with, and it's totally fine on the highway. The only highway addition I would add to the bike would maybe a windscreen to block some of the air. Other than that, man, this bike is fantastic. It's not going to give you your crazy high speed, high revving super sport feel, but it's a fantastic mix of the power of a super sport with the fun factor of a supermoto. I really enjoyed this bike a lot, guys. I highly recommend it. I wouldn't say it's necessarily touring. I would say this is a good all-around bike. It's going to be fantastic if you're in like a urban area where you're riding around town and stuff. It's fantastic off the line. It's very smooth and then transitions to its like power area. Of the like high 600, 700 class naked bikes, this is probably my favorite one, man. I was really a big fan of the Z800. I think I would pick this over the Z800. The Z800 is Kawasaki's naked, like mid-range naked bike. If I'm going to put the Z800 number 2, I'm going to put this number 1. And Suzuki's got some major work to do on their GSX-S 750. This is my absolute favorite mid-range naked bike. So guys, that brings me to pretty much the end of this Chase on Two Wheels first ride of a 2016 Yamaha FZ-07. I've got to take this bike back up here to Mountain Motorsports. They are the dealership that let me borrow all these bikes to do the first rides for you guys. So if you want to check them out or check out all of their social media stuff, a link to their website will be in the description for you guys to check out. They are awesome for letting me ride all these bikes. If you guys enjoy me doing these first rides, make sure to like the video and make sure to subscribe to the channel. I try to do first rides as often as I possibly can. Alright guys, I gotta get out of here before I just take this bike home. You guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the next video. Later.